Good evening, everybody. It is Tuesday, March 1st, and I just dropped my bottle of water. Tonight's video is going to be specifically about the recovery rebate credits and which people use to get the stimulus payments that they didn't receive, as well as the lookback credit, which people used for earned income credit. And specifically, it's about how some claiming these credits could potentially hold up your return if you fall into certain categories. So I've prepared a little slide presentation to go over with some of this information, so hopefully you can answer some people's questions if they used these credits. And then after I go through the presentation, I'm going to answer some of the questions in the chat as they relate to these two things, the lookback and the recovery rebate credit. I've answered the child tax credit in the previous video I did actually late last week, when I did the advanced child tax payments and how that could have held up your return if you reported something different. So this is kind of some of the similar information. Tomorrow's live stream is going to be about the unemployment deductions and why some people didn't get refunds from that last year, because I've been getting a lot of questions about that too lately. So that's what tomorrow night's live stream is going to be about. And then Thursday, we're going to do our regular weekly batch update party for the transcripts, which we expect to happen on Friday morning. And so that will be an agenda-free live stream where I'll take questions on anything related to the taxes. Same thing on Friday night when we do our Where's My Refund update party on Friday night, because the Where's My Refund will update Saturday again. And that will also be an agenda-free Q&A as well. So tonight's Q&A, I'm going to be going through the comments and focusing on the recovery rebate and the lookback credit, which hopefully the information I'm going to give you is going to answer some of the questions anyway, but I can go back through the questions after. So without further ado, I'm going to add my little slideshow to the stream. And we're going to look at the recovery rebate credit and the potential reasons that these could hold up your tax refund. So first, the recovery rebate, what is it? It's the claim by the filer that they're trying to recoup missed stimulus payments from the 2021 tax season for either themselves, their spouse, or qualifying children that they have. Many filers that claim the recovery rebate credit have had their returns put on hold for various reasons. This also happened last year as well. The main reason is the taxpayer is submitting information on their return that does not match up with what the IRS has on file. Some of the reasons that the information submitted by the taxpayer doesn't match could be that the taxpayer is claiming a new dependent that was born in 2021. So the IRS doesn't know that that person was born until you report it. So they see a new social security number on the return, they automatically ding it, flag it for review, and it gets kicked over to the review department. The taxpayer is claiming a missed stimulus payment that they never received. However, the IRS actually did send that payment. This has happened quite frequently this year. A taxpayer could have accidentally claimed something that they already got and then realized it after the fact. Or the IRS could have mailed a stimulus check to someone that moved. So the check went to the old address. They don't forward government-issued checks to your new address, so you never got that check. And it's just kind of floating out there in the abyss. Also, the taxpayer may have reported something different on their return than the IRS had on file. So all three of those reasons would be a high probability of why your return would get kicked over to the review department. If the reason for the missing stimulus check is that the taxpayer moved or that the check was forwarded, you should call the IRS to put a trace on your check as soon as possible, so that they can see that you actually, in fact, never cashed that check, and they can actually issue a new check and send it to your new address. If your return is on hold due to the fact that you claimed a new dependent, the IRS will have to verify all that new dependent information from the Social Security Administration, and they typically do all those verifications at the end of the tax season. So you're actually going to end up being put on hold for quite a while. This, like I just said, this happened last year to a lot of people. And let me just get rid of myself. All right. All right, I claimed a newborn from last year. I just called. It was a math error. The IRS fixed it. I'm getting more money, so they say that I should expect a no refund in 4 to 6 weeks. If they already fixed the error, and they already reviewed it, and they kicked it back into the system for processing, it probably won't take 4 to 6 weeks if it was already corrected. Usually once they fix that, it's going to get fixed a lot quicker. Like usually within like a week or two, they'll throw it back in the system for processing, and you'll get a date. Okay, we see any? I might not have a choice. I might have to answer other questions because I'm not even seeing. I just wanted to make a video that was specific for this this situation because I know I've been getting questions about people that use the recovery rebate and the people that used the lookback credit. Observe Self says, is it just my laptop or can anyone else see the slideshow? No one can see the slideshow? Can you guys see that? Let me know in the chat if you can see the slideshow. Do I need to go over it again? Okay, all right. Mrs. Laura Mason, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. It was on the schedule I posted on the community post that I made last week. Joseph says the IRS is saying that it's going to take 10 weeks for the refunds to be processed. So often, well, in the case of the look back and the recovery rebate, that could actually be an accurate assessment because based on last year. But they'll often just say that just to buy themselves time and not have people keep on repeatedly calling them back. Kiara wants to know if I'm going to be answering other questions or only recovery rebate. I'm trying to keep them to recovery rebate and look back credit tonight so that people that have this issue can refer to this video. But the longer this stream goes that I don't get any more questions related to it, I may have to answer other questions. So I may not have a choice as I'm going through the chat here. The stream might end up being a lot shorter than I intended originally. All right, Justin. Here's a question I've answered quite frequently. So when your status changes on where's my refund, all it means is that time has passed. In other words, you filed your return, the IRS accepted it. After 8 days or more, the bars will disappear and you'll get a new message. Your return is being processed. Another few days after that, you'll get a new message that says your return is still being processed. And then a few days after that, you'll get a sorry, your return is delayed. This is a standard automatic message that occurs as time passes that your return has been in the system and not completed processing. That's all you can read into it, is that time is passing, that your return is not done processing yet. Doesn't tell you anything else other than time's passed, which you already know because you've been waiting the whole time. Emmanuel wants me to answer the question because they really need answers. Drop the question in the chat. Let's see. Oh, here we go, Emmanuel. I see you. Yours says 570971. That is a refund freeze, and the 971 is a notice, which explains the refund freeze. And they took $1,400. Do I have to call to verify that it's okay, or just let it play out? If they took the $1,400 away already, then you're just going to let it play out. So there's something in that you reported that's probably a stimulus payment, I'm assuming, that didn't match up with what they had in there. Either you already got the $1,400 and you accidentally claimed it, or you tried to claim it for someone in your family that they didn't have on file, so they took it away. They made the adjustment, and then probably this week, you'll see a 571 release code and an 846 refund issued code if they already took that money away. Kiara, go ahead. Fire away with the question, because I'm not getting really any other questions, so. And Tashana says, my tax said it would get it on the 24th, but still not in my bank account. Was that from the Where's My Refund update and your transcript update that said the 24th? Or is that from like a TurboTax or whatever your tax preparer estimated? If it's from the actual IRS site and you don't have it yet, then likely what happened is the bank rejected it and it got sent back to the IRS, and you're going to have to wait for a paper check, which can take a couple weeks. Why the bank would have rejected it, maybe an account number was put in wrong, or maybe the deposit was too much for them to accept. They might have an income limit. So in that case, they sent it back. They would send the money back to the IRS. The IRS would see that the deposit was refused, and they would issue a paper check and mail it to you. So hopefully your address was correct. Kiara says, if you had TurboTax take out your payments, do you know when they release your funds? The same day that you're given on the IRS Where's My Refund. So whatever your deposit date, if it's March 2nd, you'll get it on March 2nd. If it's March 4th, you'll get it on March 4th. But last week, for a lot of people that did TurboTax and had the Credit Karma, everyone got their money the day of their deposit. Observe self. The TurboTax lady said to claim my 3 kids for the 3rd stimulus that my ex got, who was not supposed to. Is this going to give me issues? Absolutely, it's going to give you issues. And probably a big reason why you've been waiting for so long. Because they're going to have to, IRS is going to have to sort that out and see who actually had the right to claim the children. And then they may try to go after your ex if he got the payments for them, and they're going to give them to you. So it could take a while for them to sort out. Armenia, hopes you get the update Friday. I hope you do too. Crossing the fingers. That turkey. Deshana says the bank info was correct. So what might have happened is, I don't know how big of the refund was, but your bank may have had a deposit limit for a direct deposit, and it went over that. And it might have been rejected. So Emmanuel, you say you always claim your daughter this year into the rebate for the $1,400 from last year, since she was born last year. So they already took the $1,400 away. And so what you may have to do is, if you get that refund and it didn't include the $1,400 for her, once you get that money, don't do this sooner, but once you get the money that they are sending you, because you said they took away $1,400, so I'm assuming that's from your daughter that was born. You get the refund that they do send you, that they automatically adjusted, and then file an amendment after you've received your money to get that money from her. So you'll file an amended return to get that recovery rebate credit. Excuse me, can't speak. Brittany says, I applied for direct deposit, but where's my refund? Says a check will be mailed on March 4th. So will I get the check on the March 4th, or will they release it on March 4th? Never got a paper check before. They will mail you a paper check on the 4th. Fridays, if your date is a Friday, that is the day they send paper checks. So they will mail it out on the 4th. Why would they mail it out? Brittany, if you were on hold for some reason and under review and you had a very large refund, then they would mail you a paper check, because that seems to happen when people are on hold and they have a refund for over $10,000. If it's been placed on review for a while, when it comes back, instead of doing the direct deposit, they mail a check. Anya Sanchez wants to know, when is the next big update? The next big update is going to be Friday morning for transcripts, and it will be on Saturday morning for Where's My Refund. That's the next big batch update. Mike Miller hopes that Credit Karma has his money tomorrow. Well, as long as your actual date was given by the IRS is tomorrow, then you should have it tomorrow, because that's the day they'll release it. They'll release it the same day. In fact, if you're logged into the TPG Bank website, you probably see that they already have the money, so it's just up to Credit Karma to release it to you. Jesse and Jessica, my transcript has been the same for almost a month. Still waiting on federal. It's saying still processing. No letter or email. I'm getting worried. Well, if you claimed either recovery rebate or lookback credit, you can refer back to the beginning of this video when you get a chance, where I talked about the potential reasons that it could be taking a while. So anyone that missed the beginning of the stream, I went over some slides about the recovery rebate credit and the lookback credit, why people would claim them, and why the IRS would put people on hold for them, including the taxpayer had a new dependent born. So this would apply not only to the recovery rebate and lookback, but also the child tax credit. Because if you had a new dependent born, obviously the IRS doesn't have that on file, because that's new to them. That's new information to them. Maybe the taxpayer missed a stimulus payment that they never received, but the IRS did actually send that payment. The common thing that seems to be happening is the taxpayer moved and the check went to an old address. Mike Miller, what bank? The bank that the Credit Karma is using to process is TPG. If you go to sbtpg.com, and you go to the taxpayer section, and you put in your social, and I think the refund amount, if you know the refund amount, I think that's what it is. There's an account for you there, because the money that you're getting deposited goes to them, then goes to Credit Karma. And there'll be status on whether they've received the money yet. Jarell wants to know how long it takes to get a check when the direct deposit has been rejected. Typically about 2 weeks. Takes them about 5 to 6 days to get the money back to them. And then they'll mail the check usually like that next Friday or the Friday after. And then from there, it's however long it takes the post office to deliver it to you. Gary wants to know if you go to college, do you know what code they would put on your transcript? I'm not sure the code number off the top of my head, but it wouldn't be described as going to a debt on your transcript, like an offset to pay a debt. There's a couple different codes they use for that. 896 is the most common. 896, 898, I believe, are the two most common ones they use. You know, would say like 896 offset, credit offset, or 898 would be, it would just say like offset. And that means they're taking money from your refund to pay for the debt owed. What if I go on the SBT site and it says unfunded? That means they, well, they're telling you they don't have the money yet, but let's see, I got mine last week. It was like the night before that it finally said funded. But you might wake up tomorrow and it will say funded and already like transferred. Emmanuel, additional action pending means they fixed it? No, that does not mean. Additional action pending means there's more action necessary. The only way you know for sure they fixed it is when it says 571. That's a freeze release, a refund freeze release. So that would be the code you'd be looking for. You'd see a code 571. That means it was fully corrected. And then after that, the 846 refund issued code would appear. And the earliest you would see a 571 or an 846 would be on the next batch update, which is Friday morning. Mike Miller says it was posted 3/1. So I'm assuming you're talking about the TPG site, so you should be good to get yours tomorrow. You will see it probably between 6:30 and 7:30 a.m. They were kind of late last week. Frantic people with Credit Karma last week getting theirs later in the morning than everyone else did, so people were worried they weren't getting theirs, but eventually they posted. Going through some of these comments here. If something is wrong with your tax return with a 5152 code change, it could, but that just because the 152 goes away doesn't mean something's wrong. Other than the fact that you're waiting, like I said, the message changes on "Where's my refund" are only telling you what you already know. That time has passed since you filed your return, and it's not done processing yet. There are automatic updates that occur after a certain amount of days in the system. So it's like the third update. I think it's like the third update. So the third time that goes by where the system updates for that particular return where it hasn't finished processing it, they would take that 152 away. It's just automatic updates that occur. I mean, arguably, if you've been waiting for like a month, that's in of itself, that's something was wrong, because no one should have to wait that long. But see a lot of identity verifications in the chat, guys. If you get a notification about identity verification. Whatever notice they send you, just make sure you immediately call the number on the letter, verify your identity as soon as possible, and typically once that's done, it doesn't take too long for them to resolve it, release the hold, and put you through in the system for a refund. The sooner you act on those letters, the better. Yeah, Joseph, sometimes you just get stuck. You get stuck in the pile of unprocessed returns, and it just happens sometimes. It's one of those things. But sometimes the representatives say, "Oh, I'm looking here and it doesn't see anything wrong," but they'll just say that just to get you off the phone too. The year I got audited, I must have been calling the IRS every week and having them tell me nothing was wrong, probably for about 3 months. And it was because they weren't processing my current year's return because the previous year's return was being audited, so it was holding up my other returns. So something was wrong. They just weren't telling me what it was. Rosie Brooks, where are you here? Someone told me to count 21 days from 215. Yes, that is 21 days from the path lift. So as soon as path, if you claimed earned income credit, additional child tax credit, so you fell under path, your 21-day period does not start until path lifts on February 15th. So even if you filed in middle of January, your 21-day, in fact, the IRS wouldn't even consider your return filed until the path lifts. A lot of times they'll say, "Oh, it wasn't even accepted." They'll tell you it wasn't even accepted until the 15th, when you know that you filed and were accepted on like January 24th. They go by that path date. Josh Campbell says they won't tell you anything over the phone unless it's been 10 weeks from the date it was accepted. Sometimes they will. It depends on the situation. Sometimes they will, especially if it's like an identity, if it's something that they're going to need you to do, they'll tell you. Like if there was a notice issued for identity verification and it's been like 4 weeks, they might tell you. And technically, they're supposed to tell you anything past 30 days. They're supposed to tell you, at least give you something, throw you some crumbs. Peaches, 570 code, date of 2/28. No 971, no letter in the mail. Filed 127, accepted the same day. If you happen to file recovery rebate or look back credit, I encourage you to go back to the beginning of this live stream when you get a chance if you missed it. Once I complete the live stream, the video will be posted later on tonight. Anyone that wants to refer to it for some of the information we covered can feel free to, because you may find some of the information relevant to you in your situation. Emmanuel, there is no 846 date for 324, so you're probably looking at a stimulus payment from last year. I bet you if you look at that 846 date, it probably says 3/24/2021. That is the stimulus payment you received last year. Nothing to do with anything this year. So that is not the date it will be released. You will not get a release date until you get an 846 for 2022. Travis says, thanks, I did an update on my information. You're great, keep up the good work. And they said my last year's cycle code was an 05 and my date is Thursday. Thanks, Travis. I appreciate it. Jesse and Jessica, someone told me to go in the IRS building and start yelling at these guys and let them know to get their bleep off to work and stop chit-chattering. I agree. Emmanuel, thanks for all the information. Sorry for all the questions. No problem, my friend. That's what I'm here for. I do feel bad for anyone that's going to go through this video in like 2 weeks because they filed look-back credit or they filed recovery rebate credit and they're still waiting and they see me answering questions about where's my refund statuses. But what am I going to do? I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. I'm going to answer your questions. That's what I'm here for. Tina, federal TurboTax 2722 and have direct deposit date for 2/28. I'm assuming you want to say it hit today. Alicia, I am glad I got all my stimulus checks and didn't have to file for recovery this year. I filed when the IRS opened and already got my taxes back, federal and state. Congratulations. It's good to hear. I mentioned in my live stream last week, one of my live streams, I think it was Thursday, that I got a notice from my state. It was the same day, well, maybe it was Wednesday. It was the same day I got my direct deposit. The same day I got my direct deposit from federal, I got a letter from the state, so it was Wednesday, that my return was being audited. I immediately sent them all my information, and this is the importance of good record keeping. I sent them 78 pages of information on Wednesday, and by yesterday I had a deposit in my account from the state. They had already completed the audit. I'm me. Hey, what's going on? How's it going? I'm new to the channel. Welcome. We're glad to have you. Alexis, I just want to say thank you. Your channel's kept me sane this year, and I get my refund tomorrow. That is great news. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. Definitely appreciate all you guys. We hit that 6,000 mark this for subscribers this year, and I could not have done it without you. Rosie Brooks, thank you for everything. You're very welcome. Slitspeed says, I waited for over 3 weeks for my refund. I ended up getting a vague error telling me a notice is going to be sent on a later date. Sounds about right. Filed January 24th through Free Tax USA and accepted a day later. 846 and 971. Well, if you've been waiting this long, you don't have an 846 for this year. Peaches, my friend said she took an 846 of 32 by Credit Karma, and she did take a loan out with them. What are the chances of her getting it tomorrow? 100%. She'll get it tomorrow. Might be a little bit later in the morning, but she'll get it. And just wonder about the limits. So I don't know how big her deposit is, but you can only take out $500 cash out of the ATMs. And for whatever reason, Credit Karma only lets you do $500 like on a cash advance. So anything cash related, they max you out at $500. So she might have to transfer it to a real bank account. I received my 6475 letter the other day, and now do I have to wait for another letter before they send my refund? The other letter would have been the child tax payments. You don't necessarily have to wait for that letter if you know exactly how much you had received. You can log into the child tax portal, see how much they have on file for sending you this year. Laurie, I'm here. Hey, Laurie. Welcome. Lil Shmee, I had to verify my ID last week. Hope I get the update soon. I think you're going to get an update this week. You're going to wake up Friday morning and you're going to see that old transcript no longer say NA. And you'll turn that frown upside down. Laurie, once they take an offset, it's usually pretty immediate. They take the offset, and then the next update, it updates with the refund. Of course, if the refund wasn't enough to cover the offset, then they take the whole thing. So I guess it depends on how much the offset was for. The Johnson family, I got my refund. Yay! Just hit the account right now. That's late. Oh, well, maybe not late. Not late if your date was tomorrow. That's an early deposit. So congratulations. No problem, Laurie. Glad to help. And you're welcome as well to Peaches. the Johnson family. The date was for tomorrow indeed. Rachel Pierce filed on February 4th and is still pending. That's tough. You're not alone, though. There's people that filed back in January still waiting. So, Rachel, if it's in review for any reason, it could be a while. Depends on what it's for. Depends on the credits you claimed. Big reason I did the video tonight. People that did the Lookback credit, recovered rebate credit, a lot of those people are under review. That could be part of it. I don't know if you did either of those. If you have a new dependent that was born in the year. Or another thing that's happening is a lot of people... I'm not sure what situation you fall into, but a lot of people that are like separated from their partners and have children together, and one claims the children one year and one claims the children the other year. That can throw things off with the IRS too, and put someone under review if the other parent claimed them the year before and got all the credits, the advanced credits, and then you're trying to recoup the credits. All sorts of different situations can happen that can throw someone into review. Melissa Walton, I didn't get my stimulus, and the information they provided, none of it applies to me, so I don't know what to do next. Well, I'm assuming you already filed, so if you didn't get your stimulus, then it's gonna be a while, because they're gonna try to verify everything that you are entitled to it. They may ask you for more information, or the other thing that looks like they've been doing a lot is just adjusting the refunds without the stimulus payment, and then you might have to file an amended return to get it. 3 possibilities, basically. It's almost one of those things you'd almost rather them just fix it, well, not fix it, but adjust it automatically, even though you're not going to get the money you're entitled to right away. So at least you get something, and then you can file the amendment and get the rest that they owe you, which is going to take a while. I have an amended return I filed last year that's still not processed yet. Yes. So there you go, Melissa. I was under review. They fixed it, but they didn't give me the third stimulus. Yeah. So once you get the money, once you actually get that refund and it's completed processing, file an amendment. You have a right to that money. Any proof that you can send with it to back your claim up that you deserve, that you're earning of it. Stoner Rich, still on 570. Has an as of date of 2/28. Any feedback? Well, the as of date didn't get forwarded ahead, so might have a possibility of seeing an update this week because they didn't change your date. Or the update that they could give you is they're going to push your date back into the middle of March too. But where they didn't change it on you last week and kept the 2/28 date, that means the possibility they could have wrapped up whatever they were doing yesterday on the review, and then on Friday when the transcript updates, whatever they did to your return or whatever changes they made or adjustments or whatever would be reflected, and you would hopefully see that 571 release code on Friday. Usually they change the date, ahead of that deadline date if they can't complete it by that date. So if they didn't change it last week and they kept the 2/28 date, I would infer from that they were planning on finishing whatever they were doing by this week. Observe self. When I call, they literally have no information to give me. I wish they could just tell me what's going on. So, you're in a tough situation because you're dealing with that with your ex. So, that's going to be a... I don't envy the position you're in because it's going to be a mess for them to sort out. You have my sympathy, that's for sure, because it's probably going you're probably going to be on hold for a while, if I'm being honest. I feel bad. Josh Campbell wants to know what happens if I file before I received all of my W-2s. Will they adjust it? What's probably going to happen is you get put on hold, and you'll get a letter telling you they're doing wage and income verification. At which point they'll be asking for verification from all those people that sent you W-2s, and that can take a while to sort out. Then they adjust it. Or, if they don't catch it, and they don't adjust it, once, like I said with past people, if they do happen to send you a refund, file an amended return with the W-2s you missed to make sure you're reporting everything accurately to them. Because if you don't file the amended return and then they get more W-2s from employers and they've already paid you a refund, that's going to trigger an audit. And then when you get audited, if you're still in audit like the next tax year, that's going to delay your refund for the next year too. So they're not going to do when you're in audit, when your status, your tax filing status is like a previous year is being audited. Anything you do after that is not going to be resolved until the audit is resolved. So let's say you got audited this year because you forgot to file your W-2s and then you got a refund and then you never amended. So they audit your return and then next year you file your taxes and everything's okay, but you're still under audit from the previous year. You're not going to get your refund next year either until the audit is resolved. Willie, good evening. How are you doing? Dave Campo says, I filed on 217. I got accepted at 217. They have one bar. Processing code 152. I claim child tax credit. Dave, if you claimed the same child you've been claiming every year and you didn't add any new dependents, you should be in good shape. However, if you claim child tax credit and you had a new child born in 2021, you might run into a little bit of a delay because they're going to be verifying that you actually have a right to claim that new child. Part of what we've been talking about tonight is that they've been delaying a lot of the returns for people that have new dependents. Josh, no problem. That's certainly an answer I can give to you from experience, like I said. Let's see, I was audited by the IRS in 2014. I want to say it's 2014. It was the process of being audited that ultimately led me to cover them for the radio station I was working at the time. Which brings us here today. Armenia. 150 code, tax return filed. That means that your return has posted to the system for processing. 971 is the notice issued that it relates to the 570 code. And the date of 3/14 is the deadline date that they have to resolve that issue. If they can't resolve whatever issue it's for by March 14th, they will push that date back further. They may send a notice by that date, though, just to let you know why the 570 is there, why the freeze is on. The 766 is your child tax credit. The 768 is your earned income credit. The 806 is the withholding from your employer that year that you paid in taxes. And the 4/15 date is universal. It's the close of the tax season. Good time to mention that if you do have specific questions about transcripts and what the codes mean, I did do a full breakdown last year. The information is still relevant this year. It always will be. I'm going to, once again, share my screen here. Chrome. The name of this video. I know there's a guy in his underwear on my advertisements here.
Having a bad prospecting day? Introducing
Tax refund help.
the easiest, most...
Everybody.
Tax refund help. Transcripts, full breakdown. It is in my videos. I go over pretty much almost all the codes that are on the transcript, what they mean, what the dates are, what the amounts are, how they work, to give everyone a better understanding. Mira asks, I have Cycle 05. Should I have an update this week if you have 570971? It depends on what the freeze is for. If it was something simple that they could fix within a reasonable amount of time, then you would have an update. However, if it was something that would take longer, you might be waiting longer for an update. It's completely dependent upon what the hold is for. If you filed recovery rebate, use the lookback credit, then you might be waiting longer, as we've talked about early in the video. So, Mary, you said they adjusted your refund. They sent a 446C on 2/14. So that's wage verification. Sometimes that can take a while. If they got the wage verification from your employer fairly quickly, then they could resolve it fairly quickly. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at... That's a comment from Armenia. Okay, so Armenia had the 446C. That's wage verification. Mara, you just said they adjusted your refund. So if they already adjusted your refund, then you would hopefully have an update this week. Sorry. Losing track of the comments over here. My beautiful assistant is upstairs in bed, so I'm by myself tonight. Hey, what's up? What's up, Dana? I have a 3/2 deposit date with Navy Federal deposit set up. Is it coming tomorrow? It should be. I've looked into my crystal ball and I've determined that your deposit is coming tomorrow. What does cycle code 2022-0705 with a 3722 code 150 mean? That means that your cycle code is the 7th week of the 5th day of the 7th week of the cycle. That's the day that your system, that's the day that your return hit the system. The 7th week, the 5th day, which is Thursday. And that the 3722-150, that is your, that's basically the tax return hitting the system. That's what 150 means. Your tax return is on file. Armenia. Yours was adjusted as well, and they give you more money. If you guys have a transcript and it hasn't completed processing yet and you wanted to know the amount of your refund, you would just look at the account balance. It would be a negative number. That is at the time of the last update what the IRS would have on file for the refund you'd be receiving. Then once they have that 846 refund issue code, that account balance zeroes out because they've paid out the refund. All right, we're in overtime now, so rapid fire. I'm going to go through some of these comments. I'm going to try to answer questions if I missed any. If I didn't miss any, then I'm going to end the stream. So if you have questions, get them in quick. Slitspeed says I might as well wait for a change in my transcript every week. That's exactly what you got to do, because it's not going to update before Friday. Once you get stuck in that weekly batch, you're in that weekly batch. Unfortunately, another Dana in the chat. I filed 131, still NA on the transcript. Yes, you're stuck in the backlog, unfortunately. What is the date next to the cycle date? That is a fluid. It's a fluid date. It's a deadline that the system automatically sets. It's an internal date. Really doesn't tell you much because it's a date that can change as the processing changes. So effectively it's a deadline date that they aim to complete the processing of the return once it's posted to the system. But if something is under review, if it gets kicked over for review, or if something happens to stall the processing, that date would change. But it's the initial deadline for them to process the return. Is the stimulus sent before the return or all together? It gets sent all together if you're claiming it on your return. When they eventually resolve the recovery rebate credit, it would all get lumped in with your refund. Andy wants to know if early filers will receive a refund this week. Well, a lot of early filers received them last week. And then there's probably going to be a trickle more of more early e-filers getting their refunds this week. Some will. Not all of them. As we've talked about in this video, there's going to be a significant amount that are still going to be in review due to the credits they claimed. $846 code is a refund issue code, but if it's a 2021 date, that is from last year. That would be the stimulus payment from last year, or child tax credits from last year. And the 766 code is the child tax credit. Get backed up because of the letter, but they still send over the state. The state and the federal are two different systems. So the you could get your state before or after because they're in two completely different systems. So one has no bearing on the other as far as when they issue the refunds. Mike Miller wants to know, is there a spending limit on the Credit Karma card? There is. The spending limit for purchases non-cash related is $5,000, which you would think, oh, great. But anything cash related, if ATM is $500, and then cash, quasi-cash is $500. So like if you were gonna like Venmo or Cash App or go to the store and do cash back, there's a limit on that as well, $500. So best bet, take out what you can, take out the 500, then do like another quasi-cash, you know, transfer it to your Cash App or Venmo for another 500, then transfer the rest to your bank. You might have to wait the extra day for the transfer for the bank to go through, but it's better than waiting and taking $500 out every day until you finally get all the money off. Crystal, I just want to know, I have a March 2nd date on my transcript, but it changed it to March 7th on Where's My Refund. You looking on your phone? At the app? Because the app has been giving people a March 7th date when it's actually going to be March 2nd. It'll be the 2nd. I'm sure it probably says you should receive your refund by March 7th. If you read it. Log in real quick, double check it. If it says by March 7th, you're getting it on the 2nd. And there you go. You'll get it tomorrow. Yes, if you have a balance at the top left, probably a negative number, your return isn't done processing yet. And the 846 that is on the transcript is from your money that you received last year, either through a stimulus payment or the advanced child tax payments. Everything gets post-dated, so anything you see that says 4/15/22, that is simply the close of the tax season. They always post-date those things. Could refunds get sent out before the update? Absolutely not. If there is no 846 on your transcript, you're not going to be getting a refund until that hits on the transcript. Once again, everyone, the transcript is the most reliable way of knowing if you are getting a refund or not. That is the most current information that the IRS has done to your account. And the reason it's accurate, and if anyone tells you it's not always accurate on the transcript, they're lying, or they just don't know what they're talking about, because the transcript is the official ledger of everything that is being done to your tax account by the IRS. You will never get a refund without it being quantified on that transcript. And the transcript will always update before the Where's My Refund tool does. Andy, I plan on doing a live stream tomorrow for the unemployment deductions that occurred last year and people that have been waiting for a refund from that. And then on Thursday, I will be doing our transcript update party for people that are hopefully going to be seeing updates on their transcripts on Friday morning. We'll have a party for that on Thursday night. Agenda free, answering questions. And then on Friday night, we'll do another Where's My Refund update party. Also agenda free, where we'll be waiting for that Saturday morning update of Where's My Refund. Once again, if you get a transcript update on Friday morning and you get that 846 code, you'll get an 846 for March 9th, which is a week from tomorrow. And that would be your direct deposit date for March 9th. Or if you were getting a paper check, it would say March 11th. Hi, Mason. Thank you for the response and thank you for your interaction with us. No problem. All right, everybody. I'm going to wrap up the stream. Once again, you can always refer to the page on my YouTube channel. I got plenty of tax-related videos up there. If you're a new subscriber, just head over to DS Entertainment's YouTube channel. Let's see here. Let me share my screen. It's the DS Entertainment Network. You're watching my stream, so you should be able to find me very easily. And you can see I have over 100 videos here. Many of them are tax related. And if you have a tax question, you're almost certainly going to find it answered in one of these videos. And if you go through to some of the transcript videos, the NA on transcripts, if you still have questions about that, you can just go through the videos. I have a tax resources playlist in the playlists. It's let's see how many videos we got on our tax resources. We got 38 videos in our tax resources, so plenty of content to go through there. And I will see anyone tomorrow that wants to join us for the stream tomorrow about the unemployment deduction. And then if you're not going to join us tomorrow, feel free to come for the agenda-free transcript party Thursday night. That one will start at 10 p.m. Tomorrow nights will start at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Thursday and Friday, I will be starting at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Have a good night, everybody.